10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 143. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 143 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Hope you are having a great week so far. If you're new to the show, my name is Nick Manella. I am the creator and host of this podcast, and very happy to be coming back at you with episode number 143. If you are a kind, wonderful, generous, caring person, and you care about this show being able to come at you every single week, I wanted to let you know about our Patreon page. For only $3 a month, you can become a supporter of this show, and it comes with so many fantastic benefits. First of all, you get the PDF for every single episode that we have ever done. That's 143 PDFs that you get immediately upon pledging your support to the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. You also get exclusive Patreon member-only benefits. You get advanced copies of everything in our store, usually at a substantial discount. And we love to just throw random benefits to our Patreon subscribers every now and again, just to thank you for being the ones who make this podcast successful and keep it in business. So if you'd like to sign up to become a supporter of the podcast for less than a cup of coffee every month, head over to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, and click on one of the Patreon banners that will bring you right over where you can sign up and show your support for this show. All right, let's get into today's episode. So, as I mentioned on last week's episode, we are bringing back our Lick of the Month series. And I think that this is a really great thing at the end of every month. Now, I know this is coming out February, but we're going to consider this part of January since it's only the first day. But yeah, this is going to be a series where we give you a piece of vocabulary to work on for the month and try to do something that's going to bring a new or unique sound into your playing each and every month here. So this week we're going to talk about the Augmented 5 chord. This is a really, really important sound that has been used by a lot of our favorite musicians throughout the years. It adds this really cool level of tension that is different sounding than any other tension that I've come across. This is something that John Coltrane actually used a lot in his playing, and of course countless other musicians. A lot of the sort of original jazz musicians from New Orleans really relied on this sound as well, and I think you're going to see why it's so awesome as we go through these couple of licks that I've prepared for you this week. So what is an augmented 5 chord? Very, very simple thing. It is a 5 chord with a sharp 5. And that's the note that really provides us with that super interesting sound. And unlike a lot of other devices that we use that are full of tension, that have a bunch of notes that kind of clash with the chord and give us that super tense sound, the augmented chord is interesting because there's only really one note that's going to provide the tension. And the rest of the notes, as you will see in the licks that I'm giving you, the rest of the notes are very, very inside. So let's qualify a couple of things here about what we're going to be doing with these two licks. So first of all, I love the sound of just a pure augmented triad. So what I'm doing on both of these licks for the month is I am omitting the 7th because I feel like the 7th, I don't know, it just kind of muddies the waters. I would love to hear just the pure triad with the sharp 5, and that's going to give us more of that, oh, this line is really, really inside, and then when we hit that sharp 5, it's very clear to the listener that we're doing something with tension here, and that we're very clearly outlining an augmented triad. And just one note before we get into the actual licks here, I want these episodes to be a jumping off point for you. Now you can take these licks that I'm providing you, put them in all 12 keys, and it will be something that you can directly put into your playing, which I think is really fantastic. But what I would really like you to do is take the blueprint that I've given you here, take the concept that I'm presenting you, and come up with your own vocabulary, right? We always say that. You want to come up with your own unique vocabulary to your own unique sensibility and develop your own personal voice. Okay, so use these as kind of a blueprint to do your own thing. All right, let's jump into the two lines. So the first one, and you'll notice that I'm using the same line over the 2 chord for both of these licks, because the 2 chord is really not what we're focusing on here. We're really focusing on the 5 chord. So we're just using a simple thing over the 2 chord that's designed to just get us to the 5 chord. So the 2 chord just simply goes up the arpeggio and then has a little kind of scale pattern that goes down. But let's concentrate on the 5 chord for lick number 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is play it for you so that you can actually hear it while you're looking at the PDF. And then we'll talk about what's actually going on. So here's lick number 1. So I was striving to make lick number 1 as clear as I possibly could. So you can hear what is happening is we're simply just going up the augmented arpeggio, starting on 3, going to sharp 5, ending up on 1, and then we're just simply coming down, starting on 3 again. So 3, 1, sharp 5, 3, and then we are resolving it to the 5th over the 1 chord. So this is a very, very simple thing just to get your ears used to the sound of this augmented 5 chord. And hopefully you agree that it's a pretty interesting sound. It kind of comes out of left field at you. So if you use this effectively, it can be a very, very cool sound for the listener, something that is a bit unexpected. All right, let's take a look at number 2, which is the same concept. We are just outlining the arpeggio again. Let me play it for you first, and then we'll talk about what goes into lick number 2. So still pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And again, you'll notice that I did not use anything besides the augmented triad. And that is the way to get going on this. It's the clearest way to present the sound that you're trying to get across. And that's why I'm not doing anything outside of just simply the triad. But this second lick gives us this concept that we call staggered arpeggios. And what staggered arpeggios are is simply playing an arpeggio, and then on the next iteration of that arpeggio, you start on the next inversion. So you'll notice that I'm playing the augmented triad in root position for the first 4 notes, 1, 3, sharp 5, 1. And then in the second half of the measure, I'm starting on 3, playing 3, sharp 5, 1, 3. So that's a first inversion augmented triad. And this is a great way to actually practice all of your arpeggios is in this staggered fashion. So if I was going to keep going, I would start on sharp 5 and go sharp 5, 1, 3, sharp 5. Hopefully all of you can understand and follow the logic on that one. But again, a really, really simple line, and that's what I'm going for here, is to just get you started with this sound, not to give you a bunch of super crazy, complicated stuff. So your job is to start practicing all 12 of your augmented arpeggios, and then eventually taking this line through all 12 keys. But you know what's even more important than learning these licks in all 12 keys is learning all of your augmented arpeggios, because that is going to be much more valuable to you when you're actually playing than learning just one piece of vocabulary. This piece of vocabulary that I've presented to you is simply to show you what the augmented chord sounds like and get you going in a way where you can actually see something in action and then start doing your own stuff. Okay, so hopefully this was valuable to you. If it was, please pledge your support to us on Patreon. That is a really, really big deal for the podcast. That is the best way to show your love for us and get a bunch of fantastic stuff in return, including the PDF for this episode. So head over to 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, and show your love today. Send me any questions that you may have. You can reach me at 10minutejazzlesson@gmail.com, and I will get back to you right quick. I love hearing from the listeners of this show, and your questions are always welcomed. In fact, we're working on a few episodes featuring questions from our members. All right, I hope you have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week with some brand new episodes. And we're going to close out this episode. I'm just going to play some augmented stuff over some 251s. Just show you a little bit more about the sound and get it into your ears a little bit. All right, have a great weekend. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.